Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the program Agenda. We are broadcasting live from Barrio Capitolio, Pasig. Sumugod na tayo sa Manila. It took us 3 hours yesterday from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock to get to Manila. Medyo madugo po ang traffic going into Metro Manila. So for all our viewers coming into Metro Manila to buy last-minute shopping, please bring a luggage of patience. Go to the toilet at every stop that you can, because on the expressways entering Metro Manila, the lines are long and slow. Okay, I hope it improves this weekend, but good luck on wishful thinking. It is December 16, 2022, and it's a Friday. Thank God it's Friday, or that's what we hope, because it's your last chance to do some serious stress-free shopping. And next few days after that, next week, it will be bloody hell at the shopping mall with everyone crowding the place. Okay, so let's go to our daily starter. And it might be worth considering our daily starter while you are thinking about shopping, okay? For today's daily starter, it's okay, okay? It's okay to wear old clothes. It's okay to not upgrade your phones. It's okay to buy secondhand items. It's okay to live in a simple home. It's okay to live a simple life. Okay? Yan po. I am sharing this daily starter with all of you who feel burdened that you have to buy some great fancy gift for a loved one, etc., to have a mansion or to have a career. Some of us are meant to have many of us were meant to have simple lives. And I remember a conversation with Sharon Cuneta one time where she said, do you realize, Cito, all our lives we work to be accomplished, to have success, to have all of these material things. And then when we reach an older time, or when we get older in life, we just want the simple things in life. So, ayun po. Anyway, let's go to the front page of the Philippine Star, December 16, 2022, Friday. The time is 8:03 on the live program here in Cignal TV. And the front page is House passes Maharlika as BBM backs fund bill. Okay, the Congress, House of Representatives, passed the proposed bill, the proposed Maharlika Investment Fund bill, through second and third and final reading. Okay? Kumbaga, hindi lang pinush ni railroad na. Okay? Because according to them, President Bongbong Marcos labeled the proposed bill as urgent. Ayun. So parang may excuse sila. Okay, at the top of the front page, 22 cops under restrictive custody over believed deaths after a witness surfaced claiming that the COVID deaths of drug pushers and drug lords in Bilibid were actually murders. 22 members of the NCRPO, if I'm not mistaken, have been placed under restrictive custody para magkaliwanagan ano ba talaga ang nangyari. Meanwhile, World Health Organization considers ICE end to COVID-19, okay, emergency. They are hoping that it will no longer be the global emergency that it was in 2020 and 2021. Meanwhile, BBM calls for effective application of UNCLOS. In other words, President Bongbong Marcos called on the member nations for more action and not just sympathy or statement of supports. Kumbaga, tigilan ng daldalan at kwentuhan, aksyon ang hinihingi ng Pilipinas regarding the decisions of UNCLOS. Okay. And that big photo at the middle of the Philippine Star is a photo of a church worker fixing the altar at the Immaculate Conception Cathedral in Cubao, and churchgoers attending Misa in Baguio City at the anticipated Mass at Our Lady of Atonement Cathedral in Baguio City last night. So everyone is taking advantage of in-person church attendance all over the country. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court has declared that the Chinese loan deals for river and dam projects as legal. The 15 billion loan agreements between the Philippine government and a Chinese bank to finance the Chico River pump irrigation and Kaliwa dam projects have been declared valid and not unconstitutional by the Supreme Court, thereby declining the petition of the medyo nawala dito of the oppositors. Anyway, below that you have a photo of Boy Abunda returning to GMA, which used to be his original network. Meanwhile, Interior Secretary Benhar Abalos defended the Marcos administration's campaign against illegal drugs, saying the evidence would speak for itself after they were criticized by Senator Ronald De La Rosa that the campaign is too soft in going against syndicate. Ayan po, yan ang problema. Ha? Pag hindi na ikaw nakaupo, pwede ka na magkomentaryo. Okay, mainstream more credible than social media. Supreme Court Chief Justice Alexander Gesmundo said journalists and their news organizations should remain the most credible source of information in the considering the rise of instant journalists and instant news organizations. That about wraps up our summary of the front page of the Philippine Star. And I do encourage all of you, please buy yourself a copy or at least subscribe online on the website of Philippine Star to get the news. Marami pa pong lamang balita. Hindi ko lang mabasa lahat dahil may interview pa tayo. But before that, thank you to our subscribers of Cignal TV. Thank you to PLDT for your home fiber optic internet that sustains the program agenda here on Cignal TV. Okay, let's now go to our subject matter for today. Recently, businessman Joey Concepcion made the statement calling for the promotion of agri-micro businesses or support for micro, ano ba tawag niya doon? Okay, he called for support for agri-microentrepreneurship. Okay, now the logic behind that I have said is because agriculture employs much of the lower income people, many of those who are in the provinces, and generates a lot of jobs. So today, we are inviting back Mr. Joey Concepcion and another regular guest to the program Secretary Leonardo Montemayor, former Secretary of Agriculture. Gabriel, please roll out the intro.
Joey Concepcion currently serves as the job sector lead of the Private Sector Advisory Council. He is also the founder of the non-profit organization Go Negosyo. Concepcion was also the presidential advisor for entrepreneurship under the Rodrigo Duterte administration. Leonardo Montemayor is the chairman of the Federation of Free Farmers. Prior to this, he was congressman for the ABA party list. Montemayor was also an agriculture secretary serving under former President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo for almost 2 years.
Good morning, Mr. Joey Concepcion. Welcome back to the program and advance Merry Christmas to you.
Hi, Cito. Merry Christmas. Glad to be here.
Okay, well, let's get the ball rolling. You made a call recently at Malacanang for support for agri-microentrepreneurship. For those who are not familiar with the concept, could you kindly explain what is agri-microentrepreneurship, who falls under it, and why are you calling for support for it?
Well, first of all, a couple of days ago, we had our usual every quarter meeting with the president on the Private Sector Advisory Council. I lead the group for jobs. And as we know, MSMEs contribute 60% of jobs in that sector. That's a huge percentage. And if we want to create more jobs, we have to scale up our MSMEs, not only in the retail sector, which you see all over us, but especially in the agri sector. Now, in that same presentation, I mentioned to the president that we are launching Kapatid Angat Lahat for our micro farmers. And this coming Monday, we have asked Secretary Dar and asked him to join Go Negosyo as our senior advisor for this project. Why is this project very important? I believe the way forward in really helping our micro farmers is to really bring the big brothers. Now, when I say big brothers, you've got Winston Uy of the Universal Leaf down in La Union, Ilocos. You've got, of course, Christian Moller, who is invited also on Monday. He is one of the coconut growers out in Palawan, and he's quite successful. In fact, he presented to the president on Zoom his model of how he does the ecosystem in helping micro farmers. And of course, we have Mayor Eddie of Pidig, Ilocos Norte, who is a living testament on how an LGU can succeed working with a big brother, like in his case, Winston Uy, which in Ilocos, they export a lot of tobacco. So we plan to bring about 10 to 15 initially of these big brothers who have solid business models. And how does it work? It's really contract farming, but every big brother has their own model. So this Monday, we will define the best practices of each. Now, what is essential in making this model successful? The private sector cannot do it alone. It needs to navigate, especially in our local government or the different LGUs. So Secretary Benher Abalos is also going to join our meeting, but not this Monday, the first Monday after New Year. Why he is putting a lot of time here? Because he knows that if the big brothers in agri-business start to help the LGU leadership, like in the case of Mayor Eddie, his partner was Winston Uy of Universal. So if we can replicate this, where the LGU leadership is quite strong and they're determined to really push this program, then it will succeed. So this is what we are presenting and have presented to the president, now that we will start to focus on helping our micro farmers.
Okay, Secretary Leonie Montemayor, sir, you're former Secretary of Agriculture. What is your reaction to this suggestion? Of course, anything that will help anything that will create jobs is welcome, but there are sentiments or concerns regarding this. What's your reaction from your side on the Federation of, you are with the Federation of Farmers, if I'm not mistaken, Federation of Free Farmers.
Yes, Cito, and good morning to Joey. Yes, conceptually, we have no problems with a tie-up or collaboration between the small, groups. They could be cooperatives, they could be single businesses with the bigger players, particularly big business. In fact, we have some good models already existing. I remember, for example, some years back, there was already a collaboration with the help of some NGOs between a cooperative in San Jose City, Nueva Ecija, and Jollibee Foundation. Jollibee itself. So the co-op was assisted also by the mayor of the city of San Jose to set up a simple processing facility. Of course, they did some marketing also, but simple processing under the technical guidance of the Jollibee's people. And then they were able to ship on a regular basis supply of onions for the requirements of Jollibee at their central plant in I believe it was in San Pedro, Laguna. So may mga ganyan lang existing Cito. In some cases, for example, like in our case, our group, the Federation of Free Farmers, we have a tie-up, for example, with Axilum Resources Corporation in Medina, Misamis Oriental, under my former batchmate in the Ateneo, si Romy Chan. Mm-hmm. And we have started deliveries of whole coconuts to their big processing plant in Medina. So may mga ganyan na Cito. I suppose the question really in our minds is how reliable is this partnership? At syempre meron di konting kumbaga makabahala Cito at Joey, yung ating maliliit magsaka. Baka maganda sa umpisa pero over time mag-take advantage naman. Kasi big brother at small brother approach to eh. So how can we make sure that this relationship, it's like a law firm eh. Pag law firm, meron kang senior partner at may junior partner. So it's nice to talk about partnership, but baka in the end, we will just become juniors to the bigger players. At baka pagdating, diba, pagka yung presyo, magandang usapan, pero kung nagbago yung external market, to whom, let's say, we export to the big players, the products, baka buibelta po sa ating mga small farmers, baka, if I may use the term, babaratin kami sa presyo. So maybe things like that have to be ironed out. And perhaps I've always been suggesting that to cement that partnership, maganda siguro, let's give the small players a concrete stake in the business of the bigger company. So I was telling, for instance, one time sina former Secretary Senen Bacani, who is with the Franklin Baker. Sabi ko kay Senen, why don't you offer one equity to the co-ops of small coconut farmers so that when they deliver, for example, coco sap or coco sap for your coconut sugar operations, hindi lang product na dinideliver at good price, but meron na rin silang stake actually in terms of partial ownership.
Okay, but I think we need to focus on what the objective is. As far as you're concerned, Joey, is it really simply job generation? Because there are many areas to this. There is job generation, there is entrepreneurship, and then there is also the contract growing or supply, as Leonie has pointed out. What is the priority? What are the steps you are suggesting that the government takes, and what should the private sector be doing?
Well, let's put it this way. In retail, you have a franchising model. What that brings about, you have a mentor, you have a market, he provides that. And if you have both mentor and market, you will have money because the bank will believe that your business model, the small farmer or the franchise concept, will have a better chance to succeed rather than you have no mentor, you don't have a market. Now, these people that I have been talking, I've been working for quite some time, except for Christian Moller. Christian Moller is somebody that is quite different. And I think his models, in fact, are quite unique and well respected by the other big brothers. Now, in the case of Winston Oy, this has been going on for so many years now. And that's why Mayor Eddie is a testament to an LGU leader who is able to utilize that partnership. Now, the challenge really that the private sector has is really working with a strong leader down at the local government. Once we establish that PPP in terms of relationship, then it will work. Now, as to the business models of these integrators, definitely when we go over them, they give a very good, fair treatment. As to owning equity in these companies, that is a challenge because many of these private companies would prefer to share their knowledge and their market through their whole business model. And I know Mr. Montemayor understands, in chicken, we have contract growing. You have Tennyson Chen, which is the largest today in poultry chicken growing and contract growing. And bulk of his programs is really working with different entrepreneurs who have chicken processing, growing facilities, no? Using tunnel ventilation today. No? So he just has a contract with them and he purchases the chickens that they give them to grow. No? So that is another model. But most of his farms are owned by him. I don't know if if he is working with independent growers who he buys from. But what we are looking here are those farmers who need help in mentorship. While the government can provide that, in my own experience, an entrepreneur is better in providing that. The reason why we got Secretary Dar to join us is to help not the LGU, but to help the private sector organize themselves and really determine who among this private sector are ready and capable of doing this model. This is not a new model because long before I put this together, these models have been existent many years ago.
Yes, that's quite true. Because I noticed, Joey, you were talking about Tennyson Cheng and what he does, tunnel vent poultry, Sir Leone, I mean, that requires what, 150 million peso capital, etc. Are we talking of two different worlds here, Sir Leone? Because Joey's examples are high investment, big business. While we call it agri, they're still big business. Anything that's 150 million, it's a lot of money. Yung sa level ninyo, Sir Leone, what is needed on the ground or what is better or more practical if we want to generate a lot of jobs?
Siguro, I think Cito kung talaga, we should follow yung idea na there is no one size that fits everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to have a menu of options. And I think what former Secretary Joey Concepcion has been saying is there is one menu, the mentor me approach, where you tie up big business and the small farms, the small farmers. It's not necessarily in opposition to what I was saying earlier, where we give a bit more emphasis on farmers acting as a group, for example, as a cooperative, and help them grow their own business. Certainly, a lot of lessons can be imparted to small farmers from the business side. And I think this is where Joey has been quite active. And I feel he has achieved some success in helping to impart some of this experience to our small businessmen.
But with your experience, Sir Leone, because the idea of Joey is good. I wouldn't be supporting it if I didn't believe in it personally, and I really support it. But where does it fail? Because Joey's not the first to push for this idea. So many people have been wanting to help in the countryside, the push for agriculture. but the brightest minds can't seem to overcome something down the road. Where is the failure? Is it market? Is it supply chain? Saan ba nalilintikan lahat itong magandang hangarin?
I suppose if you talk about failure, perhaps weakness, Cito, isang major kung talaga concern should be the market. Kasi unless we assist our small growers to produce for the market, it could be a company, it could be a simple bagsakan in municipality, but kailangan hindi ka basta susugal at magtatanim. So market would be very, very critical. So, and then matching the producers, hopefully if they can be organized to the buyers or the ultimate user. So yung pag-match noon, of course, along the way, especially if the farmers group, for example, has a more role in terms of also helping out on the marketing side, yung pong infrastructure. So simple things like, storage facilities, especially with onions. Cold storage will be very, very critical. Kasi hindi naman siguro lahat ng, let's say, onion product ma-absorb po ng mga malalaki.
Even in seafoods, yes. Because, Joey, you are pushing for a system that is essentially captured market, correct? I mean, it's one big company dealing with a local government unit, dealing with their constituents, to produce a particular product that is ideal to produce in their area or to farm in their area. So in terms of market, okay yun. But what about that point that Sir Leone is mentioning, storage facilities? Because that seems to be the problem. And what's happening is middlemen take advantage. Oh, mabubulok na, babagsak na presyo, etc.
Well, Cito, first, this idea is not new because many of these large big brothers have existed way, way long time ago. They have proven business models, and I've met them over time, and I've continued to meet more people. The problem here is connecting private sector with LGU. Why is LGU important? If you look at the business model of Winston Uy, his greatest success is Mayor Eddie Guillen of Pidig, Ilocos Norte.
Why?
The way his rapport with his constituents is key, determining those who are ready. So the big brother does not need to worry about all of that because that is not his terrain until he then brings his business and gets to understand these people. So LGU leadership is very important, and it will hasten and lessen the burden of the private sector in getting through all of these birth pains and trying to deal with the farmers. The LGU has that leadership. In the case of the big brother, what is his strength? His strength is he knows his business. We are not picking people who don't know their business. Number two, he has funding because his business model works. So aside from the principle of entrepreneurship is the 3 M's, mentorship, money, and market. He is the master mentor. And if you look at Tennyson and all of these business models, whether it's contract farming or contract growing, they have a superior mentorship program. Because without that, the micro farmer will not succeed. Number two, they have a superior market. They know Tennyson is able to sell all of this chicken. Winston sells it abroad. We're one of the largest tobacco producers. So when you have both mentor and market, the banks will fund you. Clearly, they will fund you because they know that your model works. And so I believe this is the way forward. But yes, the farmers, the cooperatives really have to get their fair share. There are others who take advantage also of these farmers and they don't get enough pay. So we are very careful in trying to be sure that these business models of the big brothers are really an inclusive business model that gives a fair share to the farmers.
Sir Leone, what is your experience with this partnership with LGU, being former secretary and now with the Federation? Because while Joey was explaining it, I just had alarm bells going. If there is a local government official just supposed to coordinate, lead, Or because I know in many areas in the Philippines, mayors and governors have their own poultry farms, have their own piggeries, etc. And so that may be a ticklish issue na being partner with the big brothers. And historically, what has the experience been like partnering with mayors and governors?
Well, it has been mixed, Cito. I certainly agree with Joey here that the LGUs have a very important role to play, given the legal situation where a lot of functions, especially of not only of the Department of Agriculture but other agencies, were already transferred, at least in theory or in law, to the LGUs because of the local government code. That was about three decades ago.
Yeah.
You now have this Mandanas ruling where, again, more resources will be given to the LGU. So, laki-laki pong mga resources makukuha nila. And the example of Mayor Gillian, I thought was quite good because Mayor now, NIA Administrator Eddie, has done a fantastic job in Ilocos Norte. But of course, the question now is it sustainable? How many Eddie Gillians do we have? And after his term expires, will the same, approaches continue? So, yun po isang question mark. At the question is not theoretical, Cito, because in our own experience, partisan politics really also colors a lot of these projects in agriculture, example, in the respective municipalities. Pag hindi ka kapartido, labas ka sa mga tulong ng lokal na pamahalaan or kung meron ka ng existing na activity or project or business, minsan mahirapan ka pa dahil hindi ka kapartido. So I always go also, and I suppose my focus really is on strengthening local capability through organized action. So if we can have that and bring that together with the market matching, collaboration with the bigger players, I think we can have a much stronger partnership and outcomes when it comes to bigger things like food security for everyone.
Okay, let's go for a quick break here on Agenda, and when we return, let's tackle the other concerns and how does Joey Concepcion and his associates plan to roll it out. When are we going to see the new models aside from what's already on the ground? We'll be right back here on Agenda. Welcome back to the program Agenda. I'm your host, Cito Beltran, and still with us are businessman Joey Concepcion and president of the Federation of Free Farmers, Leonardo Montemayor. Joey, going back to your concept of agri-microentrepreneurship, you were talking about matching with a big brother corporation, working with a local government unit or a local government official, and then helping letting them work things out on the ground. Now, what are the planned models for 2023, if any?
So, first of all, these big brothers have already existing operations in their respective areas. No? The goal here is to expose these models to the LGU leadership and see whether they are suited for that kind of crop, or the big brother can work and determine whether that particular province is suited. Now, what are the roles of basically Ben-Hur Abalos, who heads a secretary of the local government? He's been with us for quite some time, especially during pandemic. And I was sharing with him that, we should move forward down the road and really try to help the country economically. So this is his chance. No? It's a big advantage when the secretary of the ALG is there helping you. Now, what is Mayor Eddie's role? He is the example of a model that will work. Previous to this, couple of months back, we talked to the president. I presented the big brothers to him already, some of them, and discussed this model. And now he's the administrator, which will help as well. No? So all of these things are voluntary. The farmer who has an existing model already and working with him, he doesn't need to shift to this model. No, this is only for those who are seeking to expand or look at something different. So this is, I think, I will ask Secretary Dar to talk to Leonardo Montemayor also, so that he can be informed. And eventually, when we have this real meeting next year with the LGU leadership, and of course, Mayor Eddie and the private sector, then we will really be able to put it all together. But remember, we're not dictating the models on each of these big brothers. We are just like a directory of who we believe are the most successful in their areas, and not only in their particular product, whether it's tobacco, whether it's chicken, whether it's coconut, or whether it's cocoa, etc. No, so that is the general framework. No.
Okay, Sir Leonie, your feedback?
Yeah, again, as I said, I have no problems with the models being mentioned here by Joey. Tukan ko lang, hindi naman covered ng mga big players yung buong bansa natin eh.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many areas in the Philippines where that model may not be applicable, at least for now. Mga remote island municipalities and so on. We have to have ways of helping out our local producers, our local entrepreneurs, especially those in the agriculture sector, to grow their own businesses. And as I said earlier, I really want to emphasize the importance of having groups doing these types of activities. Kasi by himself or by herself, farmers have very, very many difficulties, di ba? In terms of the technology that can be used, the capital is needed, especially to expand the operations, and then looking for markets, not necessarily in the big centers of our economy, but in the smaller, municipalities and big smaller provinces. So this area perhaps which is not being served enough by the models that we have at the moment.
What is the problem? Because Joey Concepcion seems to be touching pressing the right buttons or the right topics like agri-microentrepreneurship. When that came out in the news, a lot of my friends were going, "Hey, that's a good idea. That they should really push for that in the DA." Why is the Department of Agriculture not picking up on this, or the DTI, Secretary Montemayor?
On the DA side, it's difficult for me to pinpoint exactly where the problem lies. But
wala ba yan sa because di ba you have a charter or a job description for the DA, and you being there before, because someone told me, Cito, forget the Department of Agriculture because they're dole out. They only want to give away things but not promote programs. And but is that a correct observation, that the DA is not organized, equipped, or oriented to to promote agri-microentrepreneurship, for instance?
Again, Cito, I hope I can contribute again. I said earlier that the DA is organized only up to the regional office level. Below that, wala ng tao eh. Wala ng tao, unlike other departments. They have 9 presence all the way down to the municipalities and even barangays. So perhaps that's one reason why there is a lack of,
The devolution to the local government destroyed our concept of the DA.
Yes, that's why the approach of Joey and also now of Secretary Benar Abalos is correct. In fact, we just had this recent Galing Pook Foundation Awards where I was a juror, and PT was number 1 in that contest of the 10 winners. So it's very critical, the LGUs participating in this whole effort at promoting agricultural entrepreneurship should be fostered even more.
Yeah, Joey, you seem to be sitting or standing on a gold mine here. And I was recently in Malagos in Davao, where we learned that the entire Philippines is a perfect planting ground for cacao, which is chocolate, and we have quality materials. But the Puente Espina family was telling me in an interview that it is not even pioneering yet. It's still in the genesis, so to speak. You could do something different here. What's your reaction?
Well, the Espina family, I've known them. They're one of our awardees, and cacao is well present in Davao together with Kennemer, Mr. Baker. Now, what I am discussing is really nothing new. I've been in 17 years of Negosyo, more or less has given me enough exposure where the problem is. And if we want to create an inclusive Philippines, there is no other way. We have to go digitalization, or we really have to adopt an honest to goodness big brother approach. There are big brother approaches that take advantage of farmers. That is what we don't want to see. We want to see business models of big brothers who really make the farmers more inclusive and create greater wealth. For example, Christian Moller is somebody I met a couple of weeks back. No, his presentation was extremely good. We exposed it to a couple of people like Tennyson and Winston, Henry, etc., just to see, and they were very amazed with his model. And he's a foreigner. His name of his company is Lionheart. And, doing what he's doing is very difficult, no? But he has it well in place.
What's special about his model, Joey?
Everything is there. Data analytics, the whole structure on how he approaches the farmers. He leases part of the land. He pays them a rate for their produce depending on productivity. He's the best person to explain. In fact, when he presented to the entire the president and our group, and VP Sara was there, and she was pleased because she was taking photos of what he was presenting. So this there are many of these big brothers who are quite successful in different formats, but they all come and are aligned. And of course, we are not for the big brothers who just take advantage of the small farmers. No? So I'm sure Lenny will be a big help, and I will ask Secretary Dar to also bring him in the picture. We're in the formation stage. We will launch this hopefully next year. And it is already happening. What are we doing? We're just telling Secretary Benher, it's about time that we also help your local government economy move up. So who's the best person to do it with us? Benher Habelos. Who is the best example for this? Mayor Eddie, who won the award a couple of weeks back. So Mayor Eddie, if he didn't get appointed as NIA, would have been that person to help us push this further. But he has promised that since he has succeeded in what he has done, and he's part of the agri system today, he will take quite a big role here. But of course, the key element here is not the big brother. They're already existing. It's really determining who is ready for this big brother. So they have to both meet. They have to see, can tobacco be grown here? Can coconuts be grown here? And then they have to see through who is the LGU leadership that is as enterprising as Mayor Eddie. So the peg of the LGU is who are the next Mayor Eddie?
Yeah, Cito, can I add something to this?
Yes, sir.
Because, speaking of chocolate, just before COVID struck Cito, we already, I'm referring to our group, we were already in communication with, in Bohol, with Dalarich Polot. Dalarich is a young entrepreneur, 30 years old. She established the Chocolate House. It's an award-winning maker of fine chocolate. Okay. And we resumed our dialogue because, and last month, we organized a meeting with the provincial heads of the Philippine Coconut Authority, the Department of Agrarian Reform, DAR, and the Provincial Agriculturist of Bohol. Okay, with the blessings of Governor Aumentado. And we discussed with the Free Farmers group there how to establish cocoa hubs or coconut centers in all of the 3 districts of Bohol. So we identified one in the 1st district, 2nd district, and then the 3rd. The idea here was all of us work together not only to establish coconut seedling nurseries, best possible varieties. Sana kung merong enough criollo seedlings, then hindi lang po seedling and cacao production, but processing na po at the district level using what we call anchor cooperative. So it's a kind of agri-entrepreneurship program, but smaller scale at lower levels, at helping local businesses, in this case Bohol, grow their own cacao and hopefully later on fine chocolate business. And so far, maganda. In fact, lately sila Dalarich, she had an agreement with the MVP group, sila Manny Pangilinan, through the Smart Foundation, whereby nagbigay ng konting tulong ang Smart Foundation. So ipapasok yung digital technology, tagging of cacao trees. So we will have a record of how many trees in a particular farm, anong growth rate nila, how many beans do they produce, quality of their beans, all the way down the line. So yun, we can infuse already at that level the benefits also of digital technologies.
Yeah, but what is the level of expertise on the ground, Sir Leonie? Because there are 2 areas of concern. Like me, I've been in poultry, game fowl racing for 50 years, and it's only now that I am really using methods and systems. And the other discovery I've had is you can train and give all incentives, pero pagdating sa probinsya, parang, they'll work so hard for 15 days, maybe 30 days, and then next thing nasa na si Leonie? Sir, wala na, sumweldo kahapon, hindi na po bumalik. This is a perennial, perpetual problem. What can be done to address this? Should we bring in Go Negosyo teams, care of Joey Concepcion, to educate people, the Dole, etc.? Because that is the frustration of many small businessmen. It's like, I gave him all the knowledge and then, ayun, nasa barangay, naglalasing.
In the case of Bohol that I cited, Cito, Dalarich is right in Bohol. She's a Boholana. And she was able to study because of the chocolate, very simple chocolate business of her mother, and established their own processing facility right in Tagbilaran. So it's there. And in addition to that, magaling si Dalarich, meron siyang magandang contacts, networks, hindi lang sa abroad, but even locally. I suppose it's entirely, Willie Dar knows Dalarich well because he has visited their operation there. So in terms of the sustainability, I think we can have a good outcome there, especially with the participation also of the government agencies dealing with farmers who are willing to plant cacao, like DAR. They have the Agrarian Reform Beneficiary Organizations. I understand the Secretary Estrella
Yeah.
in the recent Cacao Congress in Davao, pledged that that will be working closely with the various cacao groups to promote it. Of course, BA cacao is a very important high value crop. It's listed in the new coconut levy law together with coffee as the two principal intercrops for coconut. We funded by the coconut fund law. So I
Okay.
think it's 500 billion pesos a year alone. So
Yeah,
meron
Joey,
kang
so-
fund. Yes.
Joey, having listened to all of this, are you now confused or challenged? Or do you realize I need to put up a new organization in agriculture?
No, actually not. I enjoy the problems of our country, actually. So,
That seems to be,
I
that's
mean-
become obvious to me, you know.
so I mean, what are we doing? My role here is basically creating a highway of connectivity. That's the only role. I really don't. I never really liked agri as my business. My father and my grandfather loved it. But then when I took over, I said, this is not my core. I told my dad, let's sell. We have a great buyer. He said, no. Then fine, I respected him. After a while, it all lost money. That was the poultry business. But today we're a branded company. So, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to help the agri farmers. No? And to me, those are the people really at the way bottom of the pyramid. So what am I good at? I'm creating this highway of connectivity. You have Puerto Espina, who was an awardee of Go Negosyo many years back. You've got Malagos and all of this. There's so many talented people out there. What we need to do is connect them. Now, who is the main? The private sector. I've led the private sector during the pandemic. So I have led them to entrepreneurship. So I have the network for the private sector. But we need a network for the LGU. We need an example. So the network for the LGU today is Secretary Benhar Abalos, who is a hardworking secretary. And he believes that his success will be remembered if he is able to help the leadership down there improve the lives of their people. And who are those that can improve the lives? I cannot do what these guys are doing. They are the best in agri-business. No? So what we're doing is we're just connecting them together and hopefully playing the orchestra to sing that same song that we want an inclusive business model for our Filipino farmers.
Shouldn't you be cloning them? I think you know what I mean. Not literally, but shouldn't you be cloning them in such a way that what the Puente Espinas did in Malagos can be done in Lipa? I was with someone on that trip, and he said, I got 5 hectares. Why I should have planted this to cacao instead of to pili? Stuff like this, clone the success stories and set them up all over the country because no one's doing it.
Correct. So that's why you're connecting them all together. So those LGU leaderships, and of course, maybe there might be an entrepreneur there. Then if they find that, I like the business model of either Henry Libonyong or this Lionheart or the chocolate of Puente Espina, then they can go and approach them. So we are able to do the matchmaking. So that is our role. And our role is to harness the private sector who is in this in the agribusiness to really look. You've got also Cheryl Antiliano, who's towards really more on the distribution side. So each one, there are entrepreneurs who are not the full chain, but they're entrepreneurs who also just take the back end, which is the final line where you take the produce and make sure that the products are sold at the most reasonable price. And to me, that is Cheryl Antiliano today. No? So this is what we're trying to do. It's a tall order, but we have to start somewhere. And where will we get this knowledge? We will have to get this knowledge from the most successful Filipino big brothers today. There's no doubt that Winston Oy is one of the most successful in tobacco. There's no doubt that Christian Moller is one of the most successful also in what I call an inclusive farming model. There are many people who are into coconut and all of that.
Okay.
No? But we want a model that brings about inclusivity.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what are the target goals? Because you spoke with the president and you guys were talking about creating jobs. How many jobs are you hoping to create for 2023?
Frankly, it's very difficult to put that number. It all depends on how we are able to scale up our micro, small, and medium enterprises. And that's what we're doing. So with DTI, we have KMME program. It's doing very well. We have 700 mentors helping KMME and CAMP. And these programs are funded by the government. We are not supported by the government at all, not one centavo. But we bring in the network. We bring in those mentors who are out there. They're well known. So at least they don't have the problems of looking for these people. These are entrepreneurs as well. So that ecosystem is there. But what we're now trying to do is bring business models who are already a complete model in itself. You have the mentor and he has the market. Because if mentor lang yan, they just should join our KMME. So we're looking for real business models. For example, let me give you one example. Nando Coanco. He's starting his sugar business together with Martin Lorenzo. He is bringing in the farmers. He has two different models. But those models are the choice of eventually those farmers, what they want to choose. No? So nobody is forcing anybody to join these different business models of big brothers. If they don't want, they continue their way. No, we are not, there is no coercion to join us. But they will see the level of chance on the improvement in their daily income, because these are people who have well-established models that provide mentorship, and of course, they provide the market ready.
Okay, so it's essentially bring in big brothers who have lots of cash, representing big corporations with supply requirements, and create jobs in the localities. Sir Leonie, we're down to our last 3 minutes. Your thoughts on this subject matter we tackled for today?
Without prejudice to the model being founded by Joey here, I would go for a more bottom-up approach, Tito. So start with what is existing on the ground. Even if they don't have linkages with the bigger players, do what can be done, improve on their existing work, improve if they already have an existing cooperative, existing organization, palakasin pa yon. Connect them with the bigger cooperative networks and perhaps bigger, smaller but bigger businesses within the area, municipality or the province, and then find a way eventually to link up also with the players. So hindi naman ito siguro, Cito, it's not either or approach. I think Joey said that he gives a lot of emphasis also on connections, but Joey, connectivity. So I think that's where Joey, you can play an important role. Pagtutuloy natin lahat itong mga initiatives na ito and come up with a much bigger overall program. And I'm sure the president's desire to create as many jobs as possible will be that much easier. Kasi you need limited investments actually in agri to create one job.
Yeah, Cito, I agree with Leonie. What we're providing is an alternative to what people are doing. It doesn't mean that they should stop what they're doing. They'll only stop what they're doing if they see that this business model that it may come in as an opportunity will help them improve their lives. No? So this is not if the LGU leadership says, okay, let me work with X person, it doesn't mean that he's going to say, everybody switch to this. No. There are many existing contract growers working for San Miguel, etc. I mean, that continues, no? And San Miguel is already doing the same thing. And, I mean, this is something that is, what I would say is a very, very old model that already exists. We're trying to discover new people with this. By the way, these new guys like Lionheart basically followed the same model on contract growing, but they variate in terms of how much incentive do they give to the farmers to make them have a better pay. So again, we have to have a menu of more things that the LGU leadership can tap. No, I mean, we don't have a scope. There are many also homegrown successful entrepreneurs in different areas that are doing well. And if it's doing well, then don't shift to something that you're already doing well. No, so we're just trying to open more highways. No?
Okay, well, gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I think, Sir Leonie, you hit it on the head when you said that the devolution to local government created a void. There was a big hole that was left when we devolved to local government leadership, and no one has filled that gap. up to now. So that is what Go Negosyo, Joey Con, and you are trying to do, and everyone else is trying to do. Thank you for your time, gentlemen. Have a good weekend. God bless both of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, also, Merry Christmas and season's greetings.
Merry Christmas. And okay,
Merry Christmas.
let's now go to our final blessing for the week. And it goes, the Lord will guide you always. He will satisfy your needs in a sun-scorched land and will strengthen your frame. You will be like a well-watered garden, like a spring whose waters never fail. May God bless all of you, bless the work of your hands, and may He give you a great and happy weekend. I'm Cito Beltran. Thank you. Please keep it here on One News.